everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In my previous video, I had showed you how I was getting ready to make collage cards using the Maggie Holmes Market Square collection. And this is all the stuff I'm going to be using. And then I also have my ephemera pieces here. These are going to be kind of like the main focal points. So in this video, I'm going to go ahead and just show you how I put the cards together. And I'll have a voiceover just kind of going through my thought process as I'm kind of assembling everything. So I'll go ahead and get everything together, get my card bases, and I'll start assembling.
So I made a few different backgrounds to my cards using some heat embossing and some stamps. I've got a couple of different backgrounds here. That one I messed up on, but I actually think it looks good. Some wood grain paper to add some texture, and this is a dry embossed piece. And these are those the flocked cardstock that I showed in my previous video from Griffin. And then just some plain pieces of cardstock that I'll add some other things to. This particular one I'm adding the Tim Holtz collage paper to, which is this is something that I don't normally do. So again, it's kind of challenging my creativity. But this paper is really easy to work with, and I'm just kind of trimming off an area so that I've got a little bit of a white space around the edge. And I'm using my Tombow adhesive runner. It doesn't really show through because it doesn't have any of those dots on it. So that worked really well for that. And now I'm adding some washi tape to the front of this card piece. And again, I'm using the tape runner just to give it more adhesive because washi tape doesn't always stay stuck down. So I just to make sure it doesn't start peeling up. And I'm kind of ripping the edges too, which is again something I don't normally do. But I really like this one because it's the really bright colors, and this is from Maggie Holmes' Garden Party, the washi tape. So I like the way that one turned out. Now I'm using the rub-on stickers that I got from Griffin, and I'm just kind of trying to match up the flowers to my embellishments. And I think these look the best. So what you do with rub-on transfers, you just kind of cut out the image that you like. It has a backing piece to it. And then you peel off the front, which is where the image is. And then I'm just kind of arranging it on my plain white cardstock piece. And I think I'm just going to do flowers on the top and bottom corners. And then I'm just using a burnishing tool to rub the flowers on. And it's nice because you can kind of peel off the edge. And if you make a mistake or something doesn't rub on totally, you can put it back down and keep rubbing it on. This tool is from Basic Gray. It's so old. So I found a tool set that on Amazon that could be really helpful with this too. So now for my sentiments. I'm just using this sentiment stamp set from Pinkfresh Studio and some Versamark black ink because I'm going to heat emboss these sentiments. This stamp set is all kind of stuck together. So you stamp it all as one, and then it actually has a matching die set that you can use to trim all the sentiments out. Or in my case, I didn't have the die set, so I'm just going to trim them out manually. But to save time, I'm heat embossing it so I don't have to wait for the ink to dry. And I made a couple of mistakes, so I'm using my little memento marker to kind of fill in some of the black ink mistakes, but you can't even tell. I also have this is one of my favorite sentiment sets from Pinkfresh Studio. And I'm just going to pick a few sentiments and stamp them all at the same time with my MISTI, just to have those on hand too. So you can either trim all the sentiments out at once and just have them ready as you're creating. Or in my case, what I'm going to do is wait and figure out the shape of the sentiment I want for my collage pieces. Because I may want to use circles, I may want to trim them out as strips, thin strips, thicker strips, it just kind of depends. So those are all heat embossed and ready to go. And some of them are a little bit harder on this one to trim out, so I'm not going to be using all the sentiments. I'm waiting for the die set to come in, and then I'm definitely going to pick that up. So for my first background, I'm using the washi tape background, and I'm adding the little Kodak. It's like the little picture frame. And I'm going to add that to the front with I'm using some thin foam strips. And that's going to kind of be my focal point, or if you're thinking of it as a scrapbook page, the photo that I'm going to decorate all around. And I have a blog post that I'm going to link to where I kind of talk about the steps of making cards with ephemera pieces, really easy steps that you can follow. And so if you want to go to the blog post too, you can have that as a guide. So I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to put my sentiment. I'm using a sentiment strip for this. I just kind of trimmed out the Pinkfresh, or the Pretty Pink Posh sentiment. And then I've got the little bird from the ephemera pack that's sitting right on the sentiment there. And then I'm just going to decorate with some of my little extra pieces. So, and speaking of extras, when you make all of your backgrounds, so with the washi tape and the dry embossing and everything, make a ton of backgrounds. And what you can do is the ones that you don't use, just put them in your extras basket. I always talk about having an extra basket where you've got pieces of embossed stamp images that you didn't use, backgrounds, just all kinds of stuff like that you can reach for when you want to pull together a greeting card really quick. So, make as many backgrounds as you can, and then just kind of let your creativity flow. I'm just using my adhesive eraser to clean off some extra adhesive that was sticking out. That's a good tool to have too, because then you don't have to use your finger to try to get it off. And then I'm just using some glue dots to add flower, and then I added the little burlap heart to the corner. I love burlap pieces, little like burlap embellishments. They add a really nice texture to whatever scrapbook page, journal page, or whatever. And they also have that kind of neutral craft color, which is nice if you have a kind of a bright background going on and you just kind of want to add just a little neutral to kind of rest the eye. Those are great to have on hand. And then I'm just adding this it's like a vellum butterfly, and I'm just adding glue dots to the back wings, and then the front wings have little vellum too, and they kind of interact, so I'm going to kind of fold them out so they stick up a little bit. And this one is finished. I really like the way that turned out. I think that's my favorite. And then what I'll do is I'll just be adding it to the front of a folded white note card. And I get the white note cards from Cut Cardstock. They're a nice, just basic bright white folded card, and it saves time. You don't have to make your own if you have, if you don't want to take the time to do that. And now I'm using my Anna Griffin flocked background that I made, and I found a piece from the Market Square ephemera pack that I thought went really well with that kind of really muted lavender color. And that's my focal point in the middle. I like the little scalloped edges too. And then I'm going to choose my sentiment and then just a couple of little embellishments around the edge. And I like this kind of neutral colored flower. It's kind of it's like a black and gray color. And I thought that just kind of looked nice with the muted background. The card has a little bit of color to it, but I think the mood of the card is more muted, so I kind of like that flower. And I needed something to tuck into the corner of my sentiment that I had to trim out, and it had a little notch in the corner. So I'm just using a little label from the sticker book from Market Square, and I adhered that to some cardstock, and then I'm going to tuck that in the corner, and then just add a couple little stickers on top, just to kind of bring the eye towards the sentiment. So I found a little sticker there. I just kind of added it at an angle, and then I'm just going to add I ended up adding a little wooden heart, and then I think I'm going to have to use some enamel dots there because I love enamel dots. And again, I use micro glue dots to add adhesive to the back of the enamel dots. They do have adhesive, but I don't trust how they stick because sometimes they can dry out. So it's always good to add extra adhesive. So that one's all finished, and I really like the way that one turned out. Totally different than the first one. So that's what's fun about this project. You can just not think about it and just kind of put things together that you think might look good and try different color combinations. For this one, I'm using the collage paper background, and since there's so many rectangles on the background, I thought I would punch out the sentiment with a circle punch to kind of offset all the sharp edges of everything else. So I got some cute little tag pieces from the Ephemera pack, and then I'm adding a big flower and another flower, and then just some enamel dots around the edge, and I really like that one too. This card I kind of cut down just a plain white cardstock background and already adhered it to the front of the folded card. It's really clean and simple. I wanted to use those strawberries, so I'm just adding a strawberry tag and then a little strawberry to kind of cover up the little embossed area. When I was trimming out the thank you, I couldn't trim it out completely without cutting off part of the Y, so I had to leave that little black part in the corner. So the strawberry covers it up. And now I have the Anna Griffin floral rub-ons. And this I'm keeping very clean and simple. I'm using some 3D glue dots to add to the back of this little, it's kind of a plastic butterfly that was in the Ephemera pack. The glue dots are nice because they're 3D, but they're clear, so you can kind of cut them down and fit them behind the area, that the darker areas on this piece to hide the adhesive, but then you've got you can pop the butterfly up. For this card, I chose just a basic heat embossed background, and then I'm using the plastic frame, my Tombow adhesive, so you can't see through the back, and just that little bicycle, and adding just a flower and the sending a hug sentiment, keeping it really clean and simple. But I thought that was really cute with the bicycle. And again, using the 3D glue dots to hide behind the darker areas on the bicycle to kind of pop it up a little bit. And then just some little wooden hearts as decoration. This is another clean and simple one. I used the kind of flourished dry embossed background, added a plastic flower piece from the Ephemera pack. This one is another kind of more busier collage piece, and I'm adding a bunch of pieces like plastic and tag pieces from the Ephemera pack, just kind of layering them on top of each other. When you do this, make sure you don't smush everything down right away because you may want to move things around. This card I moved a lot of pieces around, but it ended up turning out really nicely. I like the curved flower cluster too. And now I'm just getting ready to put all my cards together, and I'm just adding the card fronts to the folded cards, and they're all finished.
So I ended up getting 8 cards out of that project, just using the Ephemera pack and a few little extras along with it. So let's go ahead and go through the cards, and I'll show you the finished product. So here's the You're a Great Friend. Kind of a more muted design. This one I think is my favorite, Missing You So Much, with a little bird, and I used some of the older crepe paper washi tape and then some of the little pieces from Market Square to make a little collage in the middle. This thank you card, I like this one too because I got to try out the collage paper from Tim Holtz, so I thought that went really well. And then this is a nice and clean and simple one with the rub-ons and a pretty butterfly from Market Square. And then this is really cute too with the bicycle and the little frame in the middle, just kind of holding everything together. And then another collage card, which I used the Woodgrain background, and then just a lot of the pieces from the Ephemera pack. A couple of little roses from, these are really old little additions here. And then another really pretty kind of brighter collage card using some of the flowers from the pack, and then a little wooden piece that I had in my stash. And then finally, another clean and simple where I got to use the strawberries, which I really liked. And I thought this turned out really pretty too. So great stack of cards that are ready to go. And just remember, you want to limit your extras as you're picking things to go along with the Ephemera pack. Don't I ended up actually not using everything that I had picked from the first video. So you really only need a few things, just a couple little blingy things and sentiment. And then just, you could add a couple little extra things just in case you might use them. But, and then just treat it like a scrapbook page. You have your focal point in the middle. So you could, in this, for example, this card here is the tag could be the focal point, and then you've got decorative things all around it. And so you would treat this like it was the photo of the scrapbook page, and then you just put little decorative things and a little title here, and that's your card right there. So it's, if you think of it that way, it makes it a lot easier to put these cards together very quickly. And it's a great, this is a great project to kind of get out of your comfort zone and kind of just do some free-flowing creative projects. I don't always use the more muted colors, and this kind of challenged me to make some cards. I know I ended up doing some brighter colors because I do like that, but I was challenged using the kind of the more muted colors with this one, and also with the collages, the collage paper background. That's something that I haven't tried before, so this is giving me ideas on maybe what I can do in junk journals, maybe decorate a junk journal page kind of like this and feel more comfortable with using layers and that kind of thing. So it's great practice, just to challenge yourself this way. So I hope you like this video, and if you didn't see the first part, definitely go check that out. See how I picked all my supplies for this project, and I'll have some of the things linked below that I used today with the ephemera pack. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.